Hello, everyone, and welcome to Vital Healing. I'm Keith Rowe, and this is a space where spirit and body belong together, and where we slow down enough to feel the sacredness of the soil beneath our feet and the breath moving through us. There's an old idea that ever so often the slate gets wiped clean, debts forgiven, and the weight set down, and everyone allowed to come home. This week, I sit with what it means to stop holding my own mistakes against myself and to welcome back the parts of me that I've left out in the cold. So settle in, take a slow breath, and let's step into it. Living my Jubilee. I've been walking my trails a lot lately. There's a long gravel road that runs back toward the creek with a strip of grass down the middle of it. Beautiful green between two gravel tracks. I've always liked that green. It makes the whole thing feel less like a road and more like a path to follow. I turned 49 a few days ago, and it has stirred something in me. Less about getting older and more about being called back home. So I've been walking with it. On this particular afternoon, it was hot. My legs were tired. I'd already gone 4 or 5 miles, and somewhere in there, I began to notice how easily I forget my body and how my walk can turn mechanical. I noticed that I was just pushing off with my foot instead of picking up my leg and letting my whole body move. So I had been making myself walk more fully, and my body was letting me know about it as I began to engage muscles that had been forgotten. I stopped to watch the birds. Bluebirds on the power line, a cardinal down in the grass, and tree swallows cutting back and forth, chasing after gnats. I was not really doing anything. I was just there, out on the land, in my own body, and having a quiet conversation with all the different parts of myself. As I continued up the road, something started to dawn on me. For a long time now, I've been making this place beautiful, cutting the low limbs so the trees arch over the pathways, and setting out old monuments where the light will find them, putting out bluebird boxes and letting the moss grow thick by the house. I had been releasing beauty all around me without ever calling it that. And I think I'd been doing it because I wanted to be surrounded by it. I wanted to walk out my door and be met by something that felt like love. And that's when it came back to me that not long before, I'd been on the phone with a friend, and he reminded me, almost in passing, as we sat there talking, that 49 is 7 times 7, and that this is my Jubilee year. In the old law, after 7 cycles of 7 years, you reached the Jubilee. It was the year everything got released. Debts were forgiven. Anyone in servitude went free. Land that had been sold off went back to the family it came from, and everybody got to come home. It was not a reward you earned. It was just time. The horn blew and the slate was cleared, not because anyone had finally gotten it right, but because release was built into the design. I needed to hear that this year more than I could tell you. I've carried things for a long time, mistakes I've made, choices I would have made differently now, the weight of years spent running harder than I needed to. For most of my life, I've held those things against myself, quietly, the way you can carry a debt you never quite stop paying. The Jubilee underneath this year is that I am beginning to forgive myself for them. Not to excuse them, just to set them down. To stop charging myself interest on things that are already done. That is not the part that stopped me on the driveway, though. The part that stopped me is that the releasing is happening on the inside too, and I didn't plan any of it. I have to be honest about that. Most days I would tell you that I'm mostly lost and confused. I've not had a grand strategy. All I've known to do is to not shut down and keep putting one foot in front of the other. Keep using the practices that are helping me to soften. Breath work to make a little more room inside. Walking to bring that room down into my body. That's all. I never got up one morning and decided that today I would finally start to forgive myself. It just started happening. And the more I forgive myself, the more I find I can forgive other people. The more I love the parts of me I used to be at war with, the more I have to give to the people around me. The more I can laugh at myself, the more I can laugh with someone else. It moves outward on its own once it starts. I'm not making it happen. It's being done in me. I've come to think of it like a campfire. For most of my life, there have been parts of me that I kept out past the edges of the light. I think that was the ego doing it, the old fight or flight running the show. When that part of me is in control, I can't afford to let the others in. It has to control everything, so it keeps the rest of you out in the dark. I'm finding now that I can do some things differently. I can notice a part of me arriving, and instead of fighting it, I can let it come and sit down with me by the fire. Every part can take its place. Slowly, we become a whole person. It doesn't mean everyone at the fire is under control. It doesn't mean that I have it all worked out. It just means we're finally in the same room. We at least know the others exist, and we're having a conversation instead of a war. That is the Jubilee I'm actually living. The slow welcoming home of everything I am. The releasing of the old grudges I've held against myself. And the letting go of who I thought I had to be in order to be allowed to stay. The grace of it is that most of the time, I still don't know where I'm going. Like I said, most days I can feel somewhat lost. I'm writing this without a map, and somehow I've arrived here anyway, walking my road, watching the birds, feeling something in me that I can only call forgiveness moving through everything it touches. And it's grace that has carried me this far, and I have to believe it's grace that will lead me home. And maybe that is the invitation, if there is one. Not to go and finally fix yourself or anyone around you. Not to earn your way back into your own good graces, but to notice where the horn might already be blowing in your life, and to see what is being released even without your permission. To open the door a little wider for that part of you that has been sitting out in the cold. So much of the world is built around going and getting, to get to the next thing whatever it is, continuously reaching and striving and acquiring, just trying to arrive. I am beginning to think the truest thing runs the other direction. It's not a going at all. It's a returning, a coming back home. The strip of grass is still running down the middle of the gravel road, still green, still lining the way. I think I'll keep following it and see where it goes. That's where I'll leave it this week. And wherever you are, the slate may be cleaner than you think, and the door is open anytime you're ready to walk back through it. And if something here spoke to you, you can find the written version of this piece, along with all my work, on the Vital Healing Substack. And you can find the video version on YouTube. The links are waiting for you in the show notes. As always, thank you for joining me on this vital healing journey as we find our way back to ourselves and back to each other.